Hey everybody, this is JDGaming back with a duel video using the Traptrix deck that I recently profiled. You can check out the link for that in the description box down below. And as soon as someone joins this room, we're going to go ahead and get started. Main thing with this deck is it really can play first or second, so we can have a little bit of fun. So yeah, rock, paper, scissors wise, I'm just going to choose rock because, I don't know, I personally just have this weird thing where I think if you say rock, paper, scissors is often said, I think. Scissors is the last thing, so maybe there's that subliminal you will pick scissors, in which case rock would win, right? If not, I mean, I think it's pretty much random anyway. It's just my little nitpick. I feel like there might be a slight advantage to doing that. But who knows? Maybe people think rock is played all the time, so they just go paper all the time. I have no idea. But we finally have a guy named Thanatos Zero, so we're going to go ahead and play this guy. We're going to go rock, and he plays paper, so, you know, we lost, but whatever. He's going to make himself go first. All right, so that's fine. We do have this pseudo-cyber dragon here to let us go and make big plays starting turn 2. So that's pretty good. In fact, if I had a level 1 tuner, he would be dead if he had no defenses. We don't know, to be honest. We're going to go and summon Myrmilio, get a Treacherous, because contrary to what a lot of people, I guess, don't even think about, despite the fact that a lot of people don't think about it, Traptrix Myrmilio can just straight up fetch Treacherous from the deck. It's still not affected by trap holes, just like Rafflesia isn't affected by traps. So, I mean, there's a lot of free stuff you can do with this thing. Just get rid of your opponent's monster. And because I have 2 Jurigatos, I think he hasn't invested any monsters to his board, and he hasn't played any defenses. If he has a hand trap, maybe this will bait him out. If not, it's just free damage. And then I think I'm actually just going to consolidate these 2 guys into a Rafflesia for that bottomless trap hole. I mean, why not? The main reason I don't think there's a huge problem in doing it is I have enough other monsters that I feel like I can do a substantial amount of damage next turn. I'm not really losing anything by consolidating, I feel. Like, if he hits me with a Soul Taker or something, oh, whoop-de-doo. I mean, it's pretty much, I'm going to get hit by Raigeki or I'm not. And this will take care of any of the monster threats he might throw at me, so not too worried here. Worst case scenario would actually be getting this time space MST'd, and then I wouldn't be able to activate any of my things. Ooh, an Exodia deck. Oh, I haven't seen this guy yet, so that's pretty cool. Let's see. Cannot be normal summoned set. Must be special summoned from your hand by triggering a Forbidden 1 monster. Cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card gains 1,000 attack for each of your Forbidden 1 monsters in your graveyard, so he has 1,000 attack and defense, or 1,000 attack, unaffected by other cards' effects. That's pretty important, because I can't use any of my cards against him right now. Once per turn during your end phase, you can add Forbidden 1 monster from your graveyard to your hand. When this is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you can reveal any number of Forbidden 1 monsters in your hand. If you do, draw that many cards. So, I mean, this is pretty cool. It's a Forbidden 1 Exodia deck. I can't hit him with card effects, but I can still kill him in battle. And then, as of now, I know that he has the potential to draw at least that 1 card. The cool thing, though, is if I'm able to, for instance, activate Foolish Burial, bring out Armades. I know Exodia has that 1 new trap. I don't know what it does, though. So, you know, sue me for not knowing. But I should be able to go Armades, and unless that's a chainable trap, oh, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, go do whatever you want, bro. Yeah, so he doesn't have a chainable trap. I am able to go and just Armades his monster off the board. Then he doesn't get his effect, which is still pretty good. I'm also just going to Treacherous his Metal Reflect Slime in this guy, because that gets rid of it. Simple play. So now he doesn't get that. And there's no reason to push with Jurigato at the moment, because that's just committing more things to the board without actually doing a substantial amount of damage per game. Earlier, I had a couple free shots with monsters I already invested, so I felt this was a worthwhile consolidation. See, Zero Gardener. Tribute attack activates its effect, and then he takes no damage this entire turn. So, okay. That's fine. He doesn't have a graveyard effect, though, which is pretty good. We're just going to pass, realistically. There's not a monster that I want to bring out at the moment. So we're just going to do this. And if he can't do anything, he simply loses. It's as simple as that, really. So, let's see. We're going to draw this. Will let us use our Myrmilio. Wait. Oh, my Myrmilio is still attached here. Oops. So that's definitely a misplay on my part, not checking my grave. I'm not keeping track of my monsters properly, but we're going to turn it into a spectacular play by using Trishula, because that's obviously what I intended from the start, right? So while I don't think it's necessarily something that is good for the game, you do have to realize that certain decks just tend to have enough resources that they don't punish the player for having made misplays. And although that's not all the case in this deck, I feel like my strategy tends to have enough free resources. I hit a Battle Fader, so I mean, that ended up being lucky on my part. But you know, sometimes you just get lucky. You have enough resources and you don't get punished. That's actually what I think a lot of people are complaining about these days. It's the power creep is really the idea that so many strategies have too many free cards. And so even if you play them poorly, you don't have to be good at the game. You just have to play the deck decently well, and you'll be able to win. But I don't know. I don't feel like my mistake was on that level where it's, you know, shame on me, complete end of the world. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and do a quick recap where I do reevaluate it, and then we'll take a peek at the other guy's deck as well. So, all right, guys. So we're playing against this Exodia deck. I'm actually going to do things from the Exodia perspective today, so we're going to do things differently. I mean, I feel like getting that treacherous first turn was a pretty good play. The fact that he did nothing on his first turn, and the fact that he didn't bother using a battle trap means two things. I play against Monarchs quite a lot, and what I like to do is I'll poke with a monster if possible if they have nothing. If they have something like Battle Fader, great, I've triggered it out, and as long as they don't demolish me with their tribute monster, which in this case, you know, had enough answers to such threats, then they just lost a defense. So that means they can't capitalize on their play and on the defensive play that they've made, and they've lost that option for future plays where they could save their own life, right? So that's the reason I did that. At that point, when I dropped the second monster, it was a two-way scenario. One way is, as you can see, is a Battle Fader. So he could have used that Fader after taking the damage from the first Myrmilio to then protect himself, at which point he's saving face, and he's then, you know, he lost 1,600 points for free. He chose in this way to play a little more conservatively, as I think is right, to protect that Battle Fader so that it can later protect him. But that just means I did a pretty significant amount of damage to him, 3,300 out of nowhere. That's really crucial in my strategy, because this is a deck, if you look here, you can go high-speed Chanbara, you can go Gagaga Samurai, throw in Jurigato into the mix. You are easily going to do 5,000 plus damage in a single turn out of nowhere. So this is pretty much, he's at kill threshold right now. That's the main reason I wanted to do that. On his end, of course, we see here that he has a couple of really powerful defensive options that buy him an entire turn, and that is good for him. So I think this is a pretty interesting matchup, considering, you know, yes, he's playing a stall deck, but the strategy I have isn't like 100% dead against these stall decks. So I think that was pretty cool. Armades, of course, was my option to just prevent his Exodius from getting any free draws for him. I think that is the main victory condition of his deck. I mean, he already has 3 pieces just through sheer luck. Let's see, here's Exod Flame. So let's see, you can target a monster on the field, send a Forbidden One monster or one Exodia card from your hand or deck to the graveyard. If you do, return that target to the hand. If this card is sent from the spell or trap card zone to the graveyard, you can target a Forbidden One monster from your, or an Exodia card from your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use one of these effects per turn. So this wouldn't have even been a danger, even if it were the Metal Reflex Slime, or instead of the Metal Reflex Slime. I think it's pretty cool that he's playing like the Imperial Custom Protect My Continuous Traps route. It does have just that little extra bit of synergy for 2 reasons. First of all, we do have the Exod Flame. This is the new continuous trap that does help out Exodia. But then if you look here, he's playing Magic Planter as part of his engine to draw out. Now, personally, I would probably, if I wanted to play Exodia, go for something a little more based on the Chicken Game Pseudospace engine, because that's just more consistent. As dirty as it is, it's consistent. But given the fact that it looks like he's trying to play this new card, I think this is a fairly solid way of doing it. He has a nice mix of stall cards so that this guy won't completely die. He has the way of synergizing the Exod Flame with this guy, but then he uses it with Magic Planter, and then he decides to just create an impenetrable continuous trap defense using these cards. I personally am kind of fond of these continuous traps because I played a Uriah or Uria deck, the Lord of Searing Flames, just for fun. I mean, you know, yeah, it's kind of a cheese deck still, but it's interesting. And to see these cards in a different context, in Exodia of all things, I think, is a new twist that I'm appreciating. So, but yeah, here it looks like his main win condition is Exodia. I think it's still really neat that he used that single card Exodia there. But unfortunately, he did draw a dead Magic Planter, which didn't help him at all. At this point, though, I would like to point out, I made a mistake here, of course, in playing Dionea instead of going for, well, anything else, really, because I assumed that I had my Marillion in the grave. My goal was to just clear this back row out. But the thing is, I should have realized that because this is an Exodia deck, it actually is a logical play to make Trishula, as I ended up doing. And the reason isn't because I want to get rid of this defense, because while it might be useful, it's probably going to be something like Wabaku Threatening Roar or some other chainable, protect myself the entire turn kind of play, right? But if you look here, his entire hand right now, we know he has at least one Exodia piece. It's very likely he will have a hand trap of some kind to protect him as well. Swift Scarecrow, Battle Fader, and he does indeed play those. But then in addition to that, it's just a simple idea. This is an Exodia deck. He probably has more than one piece in the entire strategy, like in his hand, right? So yes, it ended up being lucky in my case where I had either the one Battle Fader to hit or one of his pieces. But if I had hit his pieces, I would have won the game immediately anyway. So, I mean, Trishula wasn't a bad play. I should have picked up on the fact that Trishula was a decent play given the matchup. Of course, I didn't because, you know, well, part of the reason I don't. Part of the reason is he did have a full extra deck, but once I saw the Exodia pieces, I guess I had no excuse. So, yeah. I like how he actually has a bunch of rank 10s and rank 1s. Which kind of reminds me of how I used to play a bunch of rank 10s for the Uriah or Uria deck. So it is a pretty cool thing. But we're going to continue with this. And we'll swap it over to my side because we want to win from our side, right? But yeah, if you look here, there's also more of an option. I could have dropped the Jurigato and done even more damage. Jurigato would have added 2,700 extra damage to this because he does 17 damage to the opponent, then pumps up another guy for 1,000. Armades probably would have been the best bet because at 3,300 for the entire turn cycle, which is what Jurigato does, preventing your opponent from even responding is just amazing. So, yeah. So, this is how this Traptrix deck of mine interacts with Exodia, I guess. So, new kind of matchup for us to try. I think I'll keep playing this deck. It's still pretty fun. I actually do have a couple other deck profiles that I'm planning on doing, but I'm just waiting for a couple more cards on those, but those will be on their way. Until then, I'll just continue playing this thing. Let me know what you guys thought about this deck down in the comments below. If there's anything you would have done differently, definitely share with me, because I like hearing what different people would have done in different scenarios to see, you know, bounce ideas back and forth and see what is objectively the most efficient, the safest way to make plays and get the best results in the long run. So I think it's worth sharing. If you like this video, please do thumbs up the video to let me know that you enjoyed it, and I hope you did enjoy it. This is JD Gaming. I'll see you guys next time.